Hello, you're welcome to this lesson. I am Halima Salaudin, early years architect. We will be talking about the three-period lesson for today's lesson. Three-period lesson is a three-step technique that is used by Maria Montessori to introduce abstract concepts or any other naming activity to the child. It has three periods in one single lesson. Let's talk about the meaning of three-period lesson and the rules to it. Three-period lesson is a Montessori method of teaching names of anything to a child. Whatever you want to teach that you want to name, you can use the three-period lesson to teach it. What is to be taught should be concrete, and it is what the child should be able to touch. Because when you are teaching the child will touch, the child will point to it. Then it can be used in teaching identification of numbers, like I have said before. You can use it to teach numbers, letters, objects in the house, pictures of animals, or naming of any other thing you want the child to know. It is very effective in teaching of names of things. And only three objects are taught at a time. When you want to use three-period lesson, you will use only three objects at a time. So for the purpose of this lesson, we'll be teaching the names of spoon, plate, and cup. The first period. For the first period, you bring one of the objects. Let's say I'm bringing cup to the front of the child and tell the child, this is a cup, while you are pointing to it. You allow the child to also say it, repeating after you, this is a cup. You say it 3 times to reinforce, and the child says it after you. Then you remove that object out of the sight of the child and bring the second one. When you bring the second one, you point at it and tell the child, this is a spoon. The child repeats after you, this is a spoon. You can say it 3 times so that the child will register it in her brain or his brain. So after saying that, you remove it and bring the third object and do the same thing, saying it 3 times for the child to know it. You have done the first period. At this point, you are done with the first period lesson. So now we move to the second period, which is the identification period. It is a time you know maybe the child has identified those 3 objects that you introduced. So for the second period, which is the identification period, you bring the 3 objects all at once and put it in front of the child. Then you ask the child to show you by saying, show me cup. The child points at whichever one is cup out of the object. Show me spoon. The child points. Show me plate. The child points. You're going to ask this question in a constructive way such that it's not going to follow the sequence with which you arrange the object on the floor. If cup was the first one and followed by spoon, followed by plate, you have to ask to show you, the child to show you randomly by not following the cup, the spoon, and the plate. So you have to ask the child randomly so that it will be constructive. By that, you can be able to judge properly. Maybe the child has gotten the concept you're trying to introduce. So for the third period, that is the recall period. This is the time you want to know, maybe you want to test the child, you want to confirm if the child has learned. So you bring, after the second period, you have removed all the objects again. Then you bring back one object at a time and you ask, pointing to the object, what is this? If the child has gotten it, the child will tell you, this is a cup. You remove it and bring another one. What is this? The child says, this is a spoon. You remove it, bring it another one. What is this? The child says, this is a plate. Now, at the end of this, by the time you get to this level, you will know that the child has really learned the names of those things that you introduce. And you are rest assured that the child has gotten it. But if the child is still saying the wrong name, then you know that you have to represent this activity as much as the child has not gotten it, you have to keep representing until the child gets what you are trying to teach. So this method is very, very effective for teaching of anything that you want to name. Numbers, 1, 2, 3, you can bring 1, 2, 3 and teach 1, 2, 3 like that for the child to identify, or any other thing that you want the child to identify. So we have come to the end of the 3 period lesson. Thank you very much for listening. Bye for now.